So we're gonna graph these direct variation equations, and one thing that we can do is I'm just going to give us a couple of values for x that we can then calculate what y would be, and I'm going to choose here. I'm going to give you the points in red. Let's say we did -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. What would they result in? Well, what are you doing to x in order to get an output of y? Well, on this first one, we're taking the x value and multiplying by 2. So you could write that down as y equals 2 parentheses whatever you got for x. And I'm going to say, what have we filled in? -2. Well, if we filled in -2, then y would be -4. So I'm just going to write that in our table. -4. Oops. Okay, so what if we plugged in -1? Well, if we plugged in -1, we get 2 times -1, or -2. So I'm going to write that value, -2, in our table. -2. These are all, by the way, ordered pairs. You could imagine this as -2, comma, -4. You should see it like that. That's really what it is. And what if we plugged in 0? Well, 2 times 0 is 0. So that's what we're writing on the table. 0, comma 0. All these direct variation equations are going to go through 0, comma 0, which is right there, the blue dot on the graph. But I'll graph them in a second. What if we plugged in 1? 2 times 1, 2. So I'll write that on our table. And what if we plugged in the last number that I wrote there, 2? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. So I will fill that on the table. An input of 2 gives you an output of 4. So we're going to graph all these. I'm going to graph them in green. Okay. The first point, -2, -2, comma, -4. That's right there. What about this next one? -1, comma, -2. -1, comma, -2. It is right there. And continuing on, 0, comma 0. That's right there. And continuing further, 1, comma 2. Go over to 1, up to 2. That's right there. And finally, 2, comma 4. Go over to 2, up to 4. Put your dot right there. All of these points are on the line. There are an infinite number of other points on the line too. We could have calculated, what do you get at -1.5? And -1.5 times 2 is -3. You could see that that would also fall right on the line. I'm going to draw a line here for us. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to fill out the table. I'm going to write some values. I happen to know what are good values to choose, so you'll get better at this too. I'm going to choose -4, and I'm going to jump around. It doesn't have to, they don't have to be in order. I can pick whatever numbers I wanted to pick. I'm going to pick -4, -1.5, 0, 2, and 5. Why not? Okay. And up on the top, as you'll see, is y equals -x. So what is x? What do we plug in? We're going to get the negative of it. So if we started here and we plugged in -4, what's the negative of -4? Well, that's +4. I'm going to write that on the table. If we plugged in the next number, -1.5, what's the negative of -1.5? It's +1.5. We're just switching the sign of all of these. +1.5. What's the negative of 0 if we plug 0 in? Well, that's 0 is its own opposite. The negative of 0 is also 0. So we just put 0. What is the negative of 2? What's the opposite of 2? The opposite of 2 is -2. -2. And what is the opposite of 5 when we plug 5 in? That's -5. And when we plot those points, I'll plot those in, let's see if I can get a different color up here. Plot them in orange. We plot -4, 4. That's up there. We plot -1.5, 1.5. That's right there. And I picked that number in particular just to show you that you could really pick anything. You could plug in anything, and it'll give you an output that should be on the line. Any real number works. 0, 0, that's right there. 2, -2, that's right there. And 5, -5, that's right there. I'm going to connect the line. When I connect the line, what we're indicating is that every position that's on that line matches with an X input and the resulting Y output. And there we are. That's what it looks like. You'll come to become familiar with this. If you said y equals 2x, you should know just what that looks like. You'll eventually get really comfortable with that. And y equals -x, going through the origin, dropping as you go to the right because it's a negative slope.